I hope everyone is having a fantastic summer so far. I know as we get ready for our upcoming workshop with flipping your classroom, we decided that it might be a good idea to actually flip some of the things that we're doing. So we wanted to take this time and actually share a couple of research facts that we found regarding flipping your classroom. I'm actually using a program called QuickTime. There's many programs out there, but basically it's like me sticking my phone up on a tripod and just talking directly into the phone and recording. So it's a pretty simple tool that we all pretty much have access to if we have a cell phone or a tablet device. But as we were doing research with flipping your classroom, we came across a lot of really kind of cool things that we saw that really the benefits of doing it in your classroom. And the first thing that we just wanted to share was opportunities for real-time feedback. And the idea with that is because you are flipping your classroom in the lessons and you're having your students actually watch the videos at home and during class, it's more one-on-one. It's the ability for you to actually kind of not be lecturing, standing up in front of the classroom, but you're actually moving around and working with your students. Or if you decide to play a video during your class of you lecturing, they are a little more specific to the point, so there's not as many interactions. But if there is a student who has a question or you have to deal with that little issue, you actually can go to that student, be a little more one-on-one with that student, and answer those questions. The other piece that comes with that is student engagement. First of all, there was actually a study by the Gates Foundation. There was a group that wrote a grant and received a small grant to actually do some flipping in the classroom. One of the things that came across was flipping your classroom, doing flipped video lessons is really specifically speaking the language of our students. So what that means is that YouTube, video, social media, which is where YouTube and SchoolTube and all these video sites come across, that's the language our students speak. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you watch your students online or your kids, they tend to go straight to YouTube. I know I go to YouTube for how to do things, but YouTube is the language we speak. That is our entertainment. That is where the information is at. And so coming to your students via video, whether it's on YouTube or SchoolTube or whatever means you decide to display it at, it's really a great opportunity for student engagement because it is speaking their language. The other thing that comes with it, and we all know it with this new initiative that we're doing in the school district with eye observation, but we know in the art and science of teaching, one of the design questions, and as we look at that, it is student engagement. And we know with flipped learning, as we've done this research and looked into the research and seen students and teachers do it in the past, and with their lessons, it definitely brings student engagement because we're speaking the language. We can be a little funny. We can speak to them in our house or with our kids or whatever, that they actually get to see a little more in our life and speak with them. And then the other part is if you kind of flip that, no pun intended, but if you actually kind of flip that, instead of you flipping your lessons and creating these videos, you could actually have your students be the ones creating the videos. And we've seen that with a lot of schools. There's actually a school in Palo Alto. It's actually Palo Alto High School in California. They had a group of students who have developed this website called Club Academia. I know we're going to see it when we're in our workshop here in the next couple days. But Club Academia is this amazing website that's put on by high school students. And what they do is they create these video lessons, and students can go in there and watch. So it definitely creates a student engagement from that piece too, because your students are creating it and then other students are doing it. And the really cool thing with Club Academia is that students are able to speak the language of a student. I mean, there's things that a student can say that is relatable as a student that we as an adult, if we try to say it as a teacher, it's just not going to come across really, really well. The other cool thing with flipped learning that we have seen, and by the way, the Club Academia, that's high school level, but they're doing it at the middle school level too. There's a website, just wanted to go back, there's a website called mathtrain.tv, a bunch of middle school students that have been creating these video lessons also. The other cool thing that we've seen is self-paced learning. So the idea behind self-paced learning is that your students have access to this video library that they can go back and watch. I know many times, at least as a student, when I was learning in class, I would get to a point, I'd get home, and then I'm like, oh, what was the teacher saying? I look at my notes, and they might not have been the best written notes, but at least I could go back and take a look at my notes, as in a video, and see exactly what my teacher was saying through that video. And plus, it's more accessible. So it doesn't matter, if I have a cell phone or if I have a iPad or if I have a Chromebook, whatever it may be, those videos are more accessible depending on where you place them. So that idea of self-paced learning is really, really prevalent. And then the homework is more meaningful. And when I say homework, I'm actually meaning more of the classwork. When they go home, because they will be watching videos, and you don't have to do a video every single night, but that video, it's very focused on what you're wanting them to pay attention to, because we know as we're teaching, questions come up and stories and distractions. So the class gets filled up with all these little things where if we can sit down in front of our computer and speak and share some ideas, it's going to happen a lot better that way. And then from there, in our classroom, we have the ability to spend more time like really doing those projects that we always say we don't have time for, because now guess what? You're not filling up your class with a 20-30 minute lecture because you're doing it at home. Now you actually have 30, 40, whatever, 50 minutes in your class to actually get in there. And the homework becomes very specific to that, because you do have time to come up with these amazing creative ideas with your students and the work that they do. The other piece is improved student-teacher interaction. So you actually have this time that you can actually communicate with your students and have this interaction, because we know that is important. When we know our kids and our kids feel loved and a part of the class and know that their teacher cares, there's this different attitude that the student takes on, and they're willing to participate and have those conversations. So the student-teacher interaction, the communication, really does improve because of having allowed for you to interact with your students on a different level. The other piece that comes with it is even with your parents, because your students are going to come, be watching these videos at home, and the parents are going to be able to look in. They're like, oh, who's that teacher? Oh, that's your teacher. And they can see how you talk and interact with your students. So you're almost like coming into their house as a teacher. So their parents really kind of get this interaction and see how you teach. And even at parent-teacher conferences, we've even seen this with research, that parent-teacher conferences are entirely different because you have been coming into their house via video, and they have this interaction and see how you teach and what you've been teaching. So it totally changes, because you know how sometimes like Mr. Whatever is really boring. Well, now they get to see because you're coming at them through video. And you've been invited in there. And the last thing, which I know I'm going to do as soon as I get done with this, is I get to go back and reflect on how my lessons went. And I know that's really an important piece. We know that as teachers, even going in college, I know that was an important thing. Like the reflection was a big piece of lesson design. And I know as a teacher, I'm going to go back and watch this, and I'm going to look at, what did I do? Are the things that I could do better to make sure that this concept is more clear for my students. So as we get started, like I said, I know we were going to get started kind of a different way, just because we are talking about flipped learning. We thought we'd come to you via video and start that learning that way, instead of trying to take up time during class, where we can actually spend more time creating videos instead of learning about why we should create those videos. And the last thing I'm going to say is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day, evening, morning, whenever you watch this. That's your time. That's great. But we can't wait to see you in our flipped learning class workshop. Take it easy.